with you. Can you believe it's May 4th already? And it's the last day of the nodes of the moon in Capricorn, South Node, and North Node of Cancer. So, what have we learned in the past 18 months, collectively and individually? You know, you always have to look to see where the nodes fall in your chart. You know, your natal nodes and the nodes when they're transiting, because they're going to hit different points in your chart and different planets that will activate the themes. The Cancer Capricorn axis is definitely about home, security. That's Cancer, the mother, nurturing, the feminine, feeling safe and secure. But then you go to the opposite in Capricorn, that's financial security, it's business, it's structure. Saturn rules Capricorn, so you have all the things in place of the patriarchy. Getting things done, the businessman going in and taking care of structures and banking, and I'm going to make sure everything's done. And, you know, when the nodes are in those places, the South Node is always the point that we're supposed to be releasing. It's like collectively we know it inside and out, right? Or individually, we know the South Node. It's our safe place. We fall back in that space because we're so used to like being in that realm. And Capricorn, you know, like I said, it rules the patriarchy. We have had Saturn and Pluto there. Saturn now is in Aquarius, but it rules Capricorn, so it's really strong in its own sign. And the Pluto-Saturn conjunction happened on January 12th of 2020. And think about the things that are falling away. So we're supposed to release those things in the South Node and move towards the North Node of Destiny, which is Cancer in this case. And Capricorn, the structures are not working anymore. It's the patriarchy, it's the banking systems, it's the government's controlling everything. You know, restriction, Saturn rules restriction, it rules time, it rules karma. These old systems are definitely not working. Now we have Jupiter in Capricorn as well, so it's like Jupiter is the great benefic. It rules Sagittarius, but it always like bumps everything up. Like the energy is huge. It just expands everything. And Saturn slipped into Aquarius, and right about that time is when this whole global lockdown went and happened. And with Neptune also in Pisces, that's like pandemic. That's illness, it's unseen germs, things you can't see that are kind of hidden. And it's just so much, but like have we truly stepped into the Cancerian, you know, energies of this past 18 months, finding home within our hearts, finding what lights us up, the people that make us feel safe and secure and loved, where we feel the most nurturance, you know, and how do we give that to ourselves? Because truly, if you can't give that to yourself, no one else is going to be able to do that for you. You have to have that self-love within and feel that you are deserving of being, you know, loved and cared for and creating a home and being with family. Like, let's face it, family's tough, you know. We all incarnate with specific souls to move through lessons, you know, and then in and out of our life, and that's family. I'm talking, we're born into families, right? We choose our parents. This is my total belief, to work out lessons. And we've had lifetimes with these people before, siblings, you know, everybody's always different, you know, and we hear this all the time. Oh my God, like, especially with two, because this is my brother and I, right? So there's two children, how could they be like raised by the same parents and be completely different? Because the evolution of the soul is different. We're all different. We come in with our own blueprint, which shows past lives and how we've gone through them and what we're coming into to be able to work through, you know, what are repeated lessons that we haven't quite finished. If you have any planets square, a 90-degree angle, the moon's nodes, those are skip steps, meaning you were so stoked in your last life that you're like, yeah, I'm just going to go and do it. You know, I'm not worried about that right now. And you skip over them. I have 5 planets square the moon's nodes, so I was pretty stoked last time, and now I've got to repeat stuff, you know. But beyond the families that we come into, the people that we draw souls into our lives, right, to help us move through these lessons. So colleagues, friends, acquaintances, the biggest dance is with your intimate partner, because that's the one who's going to show you the deepest parts of yourself, you know, and that can be scary as hell. People will tend to run from that if they're not feeling comfortable within, you know. If you're not really super secure in your emotional body, or you can't even really feel your emotions, you're not going to be able to sit with that. There are going to be so many triggers, you know, and I've experienced that Not me personally. I mean, yeah, obviously I get triggered, but I'm more secure in the love realm and sitting with stuff and working through things, you know. So for me, I can honestly say that since November of 2018, when these nodes shifted into Cancer and Capricorn, I have definitely moved through the lesson and, you know, releasing old things that don't work for me. And one is like allowing myself to be restricted and to not speak my truth, you know, and that's nobody's fault but my own. If I'm in any kind of situation, whether it's a lover, work, family, friends, and I have something to say, but I don't feel comfortable enough to say it, so I just go along with everything, and then resentments build up, well, that's on me. That's not on anybody else. And I got the lesson, because it's always, you have to look at where in your chart do these planets fall or these moon's nodes. For me, this past cycle, Cancer, Capricorn has been Cancer in my 9th house. So that's Sagittarius' house naturally. So it rules foreign lands, long distance travel, foreign cultures, esoteric, the higher truths, because you think of the archer shooting that arrow up, right? Getting to the truth. And home, so Cancer, nurturing, home, love. I've been sitting here taking care of my parents for the last, since November of, I wasn't even supposed to be here long, and here I am. Beyond that, November of 2018. So this is what happened for me. I was going to go elsewhere on the planet, and that wasn't really accepted. So I have been here for the past 18 months and working on the Cancer Capricorn axis of dropping the old restrictive Saturn things like not speaking, because again, this falls in my 3rd house of communication. And I am a Gemini. And yeah, I can talk and talk like most Geminis, but can I really say what I'm uncomfortable about saying? Yeah, for the most part, because I do have a Scorpio ascendant, and I have 4 planets in the 8th house, which is Scorpio's house, but they're in Gemini. So, you know, being able to verbalize has never really been an issue, but when it was to you know, keep the peace between connections with certain people, I would just shrink myself, you know. And so I've gotten beyond that. I'm like, no. And it's funny too, because I always look back after the fact of when certain transits hit my chart, and like when they're happening, I'm not always consciously aware, because even being a student of astrology for like 30 years, I don't always like check my chart to see what's going on. I'm just doing life, you know. And I'm taking care of 2 87, 88-year-old parents, both with dementia. So you can imagine, I don't have a lot of time for me. And I'm certainly not going to sit there every day and look at my chart. So I just kind of go with stuff. But as I look back after the fact, I'm always blown away at how my soul puts me right on track. So the lessons of Cancer Capricorn, especially in my 3rd house and my 9th house, I've gotten them. Like, I've aced this shit. You know, I'm speaking my truth. I've been holding down the fort in the home. I'm connecting with more people from foreign lands, you know, friends on Facebook, and I've been traveling before this lockdown, and yeah, I've been living it. So now, tomorrow, the 5th of May, is like, that's a really important day for me anyway, not just Cinco de Mayo. But the nodes are switching to Gemini and Sagittarius, and those are my natal nodes. I have my nodes at 14 degrees of North Node Gemini, so that's my destiny point. And the South Node of Sagittarius, where I'm really comfortable. You know, we get to lazy with the South Node because we've lived it for lifetimes. So for me, the South Node in Sagittarius is in the 2nd house of how I value myself, my things, my possessions. It's Taurus's house, so it's like beauty and solid foundations, and how do I, you know, that kind of thing. How do I feel about that? How do I value that? And I can tend to be just kind of, oh yeah, I feel really good about myself. And, you know, I think in past lives, it was really more about, oh, I have like lots of riches and I have all these things. And I feel like I've stepped away from that in this lifetime. Oh, obviously I don't have a lot of money in this lifetime, so that's not an issue. But it's funny, I've always loved really fine things, right? There's my South Node. My mother used to tease me. She's like, oh, you have a champagne taste with a, you know, a beer purse. I'm like, yeah, that's just how it rolls, right? But the North Node of Destiny, we're collectively going to that. And Gemini is about short distance travel. It's definitely about communication, connecting, loves like stimulation in the mental realms, learning. It'd be a great time. So for 18 months, we're going to be in Gemini and Sagittarius. So the North Node in Gemini is about its siblings. It natally rules the 3rd house, well, in the natural zodiac. So siblings, short distance travel, like I said, learning any new skill, elementary education, could deal with children too, because they fall under Gemini. It's inquisitive, it's curious, it's can be two-faced. You know, for people that are not grounded, that have a lot of Gemini, yeah, they can be like flippant. You know, they could flip-flop. Like I'm definitely not a flip-flopper. My Pluto ruled chart just keeps me pretty rooted. But I could see how people can be like that, and of course I've experienced that. So here we go. The next 18 months, like what's that going to bring? You know, for me, it's second and eighth house. And like I said, these are my natal points. So I'm kind of excited about it. And even though the world is changing and we're in like a new normal, like everybody says, we can have such joy and beauty. It's just a new way of navigating. And for me, with the eighth house North Node, it's about connecting deeply with other people, you know, ideas, collaborations, real estate, death, taxes, not that I love taxes, but, you know, sexuality, sensuality, kundalini, all these things, sacred partnership, those are Scorpio's realm, and it's, like I said, the eighth house. So for me, that's where I'm headed, just more into that. I feel like I've kind of aced the Capricorn Cancer thing in my own life, looking back. Now I am aware that these nodes will be here for 18 months, so I'm going to keep my eye on that. But when any planet or node hits your natal point, it's even more powerful. Like just having had Saturn in Capricorn for 2.5 years, you know, it was really strong there. And so here we go, and I've got Venus there too, so there's a lot of stuff going to be hit. It's my birth month. My birthday's in 3 weeks. I'm like, wow, I'm going to be double nickels. I'm like, you know, I wanted to be in Amsterdam, and now that's not happening on my actual birthday, but I'll get there maybe in the fall. But having a cheery outlook, like Geminis just love to laugh. We're like the freaking court jesters, you know? Think about like the kings and queens. They always had a jester because they needed to like keep things light. They were in such, what do you call it? Not need, but they were expected to take care of everything. That's a lot of weight on your shoulders, you know? Whether you like freaking, you know, rulers or not, I'm like, I would never want that job now. I'm telling you, it's just too intense for me. So the court jester's needed. So do things that make you laugh, but maybe look to this time that we're going into as things can really shift for the highest. And with Sagittarius in the background, it maybe is about leaving behind, I'm thinking Sagittarius South Node. It's like shooting for the truth. Sometimes when Sagittarius is imbalanced, they get on a soapbox, you know, and they're on a tangent about something, and their truth in their mind is everybody's truth, and that's not really it. So not being holier than thou, not thinking that we have all the answers, you know, not thinking that we know everything. Jupiter expands everything, stepping more into the inquisitive Gemini mind, because this would really be a great time for that. It's a new world now. We're stepping into a new world, so look at it with the eyes of a child. And the eyes of a Gemini child are always busy, like scanning like this. I do that a lot. I blink a lot too. I notice that when I watch my videos, but I'm always really curious. Although my brother, who's also a Gemini, if we were in a museum, he would stop at every single like exhibit and read the placard, you know, with the whole listing. And I would check out a few and then I'd run and check something else out because I just can't be bothered. So there's many facets to the Gemini world. But wherever you are, I hope that you're well and healthy. And I hope that you're taking good care of yourselves and your loved ones, and that you realize too that your immune system is really, really important to boost it, right? If you have gotten COVID-19 or know somebody who did and who passed away, like I really feel for you, and for the families, that is awful. But in the interim, in a different, I don't even know, sometimes I lose words, right? Gemini girl. I don't hear much being spoken on in the mainstream media about like taking care of your immune system. And of course, if you're highly acute and like at death's door, you know, eating a bunch of fruit's not going to help you. But it's really important for immune health now. Like that should be being discussed. So in the Gemini realm, let's discuss that. Let's discuss how important nutrition is, how important probiotics are for gut health. Kombucha, there's so many things. Sauerkraut, any of the probiotics, miso. Soy that's fermented is highly, it's got high probiotics. And that's something that we should have discussions about. So let's see what happens after the 5th of May, tomorrow, when the North Node slips into the destiny point of Gemini. New ideas will be coming up. And I definitely would love to collaborate with people on, other ways of sustaining our health, because it's important. And it really just blows my mind that you hardly see anything on the mainstream ever about, well, we've had this pandemic unleashed, and well, I wonder why in America, like, we eat sugar and frickin' McDonald's and fast food on every goddamn corner. Like, seriously? And we've, like, polluted the soil with Monsanto's, pesticides. Like, yeah, way to go, Team America. Come on, man. Europeans have it, they're so much smarter. They don't, like, allow that shit in their food. So really take care of yourself, because the reality is that your body takes care of itself. The virus can't touch you if you have a strong immune system. It's your immune system attacking itself. That's truth. That's reality. Do your research. Take good care of yourself. So, it's pretty much where I'm going to leave off, but I'm excited to see where we're going to land over the next 18 months, and short distance travel. I don't know how short it is, but I'm going to be road tripping to California at the end of June. So that's like 5 days. Still looking for that shotgun rider. One of my friends wants to either, fly here or is local and wants to drive with me. We'll share hotels and car and hopefully some hot springs, and wind up in Mount Shasta, Dunsmuir area, and I'll be there for a few months. I hope so. Yeah. All right, you guys. Happy 4th. May it be with you always.